Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kris Arnold, and I want to share with you a special presentation on longevity and anti-aging. This is a class that I've given many times in my office at Live Well Chiropractic, and I'm excited to share the information with you. Because how many of you want to live longer, but also have life in abundance to be able to do what you want to do during those years and have your health not hold you back or have restrictions? Because we know science has shown that biologically, through our DNA, we're designed to live to be over 120 years old. But we know our average lifespan is not anywhere close to that. But we do know that there are certain pockets of populations that live to be well over 100 and have vibrant health. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what we have learned from those societies, from those cultures. They're called blue cultures, and where the centurions are, people that live to be over 100, can actually teach us about. So we're going to do a deep dive into longevity and anti-aging. So I want to kind of quickly, before I start with that, is talk to you about one of my favorite people in the world is Doris Buzzard, who comes to my office. She's been coming to my office for over 20 years. This young lady at the age of 95 continues to show up in my office on her appointment schedule without missing it ever. She drives her way to my office and gets out of the car without a cane, walks in and is always happy, is always upbeat, always doing well. She basically takes no medication. She's on a small blood pressure medication, and she does whatever she wants to do, which to me is the purpose and also the perfect picture of what longevity and anti-aging is. So I want to teach you what science is and also what patients in our office, like Doris, have found out and actually how to live a long, healthy, and abundant life. So funny enough is I'm going to go from a 95-year-old to a 9-year-old talking about that, because the question is when should we start working on longevity? And the answer is 10 years ago, right? 20 years ago, probably 50 years ago from some of us. You know, it's always never too early to start working on longevity. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Amelia. Amelia was, I still remember her mother calling me on the phone the very first, I was on a way home from the office. Quick story about Amelia is the stuff. She was actually at the age of 7, or I think earlier, diagnosed with juvenile arthritis. That was, you know, you hear of you're probably have seen some senior people, or you might even experience some arthritis. You know, what would that happen or look like if you started at the age of 7 having those severe joint pains? Every time you moved, it was excruciatingly painful, not being able to even get out of a chair without pain. That was the life Amelia was living as a 7-year-old. And that was not good. And her mother was bearing the weight of that, because the only thing that Amelia ever had a goal was is to be a gymnast, right? She wanted to do gymnastics like all the other girls in her class. And she did. She did gymnastics for a while until the joint pain got so severe that her mother had to tell her she had to quit. And then when Amelia was even in the house and she was feeling just a little bit better and would start to run around, it would just flare up her joint pain. So her mother found herself telling her 9-year-old daughter to stop running, to stop moving, to stop doing things, because it would just increase the pain so much. So can you imagine that, being a mother telling your kids to stop being active? You know, it just was tearing at her mother's heart. So she called me that evening on my way home and said, you know, I heard that maybe you might be able to help, but is there any way? And she was almost in tears saying that, you know, you can help my daughter. And I was like, I love taking on challenging cases. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to turn over heaven and earth to find a solution for Amelia, because I had young kids, I had girls that wanted to be active and stuff. And I knew what this mother was living through, which was not good. So we accepted her as a case, went through and did all of this case history, found out that since the age of 7, she was just doing the medical route. She'd been to all kinds of different doctors, rheumatologists. She's been put on all kinds of medication. I think she was taking 7, 8 different medications. She was getting injections on a regular basis. She was on arthritic medication. She was on physical therapy, and all of that just was leading it to getting worse and worse. And every year was worse, to the point and stuff that she had constant aches and pains, that she was almost spending more time in the nurse's office than she was in the classroom, which again was not very good for her academic level. So we did some evaluations. We found a lot of things that was missing. We're going to teach you some of those tools that we use for Amelia, but I want to kind of fast forward and stuff. Is just last week I had another conversation with her mother, and her mother was in tears again. This time and stuff, they were tears of joy. She was expressing to me how much Amelia has changed over those 3 months in her office, that now Amelia goes to the nurse's office maybe once a month, that her medications, that was a handful of multiple medications, they're now down to just a few, and there is real hope that she may even be able to get off of all of those in the very near future. Physical therapy, she is reducing that. She doesn't need that anymore. And the happiness is her mother says she can actually play again without having her knees and her joints and arthritis flare up. Literally and stuff, she just actually completed 2 Halloween parades, one on Monday night and one on Tuesday night, back to back, where she walked close to probably 7 or 8 miles and did it with very little pain the next day. And her mother was just almost sobbing that that was even unrealistic to even have happened probably 6 months ago, that her daughter would actually able to do that. So I tell you this story and stuff just to show you that there is hope. There is all kinds of resources I'm going to teach you here in just a few minutes of how to make changes. But I'm also going to be is longevity does not start when you're 50, 60, 70, right? Longevity starts at age 9, right? And Amelia has some health issues, and I just, it almost tears my heart to think about, if she had never found her office, if you have that much severe pain in the age of 9, what does it look like when you're 20? What does that look like when you're 40, 50? I can't even imagine the life that Amelia was going to have to go through if she didn't experience chiropractic care and what it is that we do. So I want to share with you what that is, so we can turn you around and give you the life just like Amelia has, and the life like Doris has, and the life that a lot of our patients experience on a regular basis. So longevity is all about freedom and independence, to my understanding. Meaning is that we want to live a long life, but we want to be very independent, just like Doris. Doris lives in her own home and stuff. She does it the way she wants to do it. Her health is not dictating what she has to do. And she has independence and freedom to do whatever she wants. That's what I want to provide with you. But as you get older, there are specific health challenges that you're going to face. And that's how this presentation is going to be broken down. We're going to be discussing arthritis. We're going to be discussing osteoporosis, high blood pressure, energy levels, all those things that detract from your health, solutions for that, so that you can get back to being the life you want to live. The problem is most medications, as you already know, are just masking the symptoms. It's managing issues, not really solving issues. And I want to be a problem solver. I want to solve issues for you so you can live a healthy life and not be held up by it. So that's what we're going to actually go through. So in our office, when we do this presentation, we kind of go through a little bit of a interaction and stuff, where you actually get to test what your true biological age is. So I'm going to run through this, and at the end of I'm running through, I want you to do this as an experience, so you can kind of see where your biological age is at. So first of all, I want you to stand up, and if you can stand up without pushing off with your hands, then you get to subtract 5 years off of your biological age. That is your actual real age that you are right now. Or if you have to use your hands, you have to add 2 years to your age. Next is I want you to stand and balance on one leg, and you have to do it for 10 seconds. And then I want you to do and stand on the other leg for 10 seconds. If you can do that, subtract another 5 years, or if you can't, add 5 years to your real age. Then we want you to do deep knee bends. That's where you actually stand, and you're going to go clear down where your butt's almost touching your feet, and then you're going to stand back up again. And if you can do that, decrease another 5 years, or add 2 more years to your biological age. And then if you sleep 8 hours every night, subtract another 5 years. If you exercise for 30 minutes every day of the week, you exercise, you also can subtract a year, right? So if you exercise 4 days a week, you subtract 4 years. And then posture check. So I want you to stand in front of a mirror, wherever mirror is closest, and I want you to look at your posture. If you can see your shoulders, see where your level your shoulders at, and then also look at the level of your ears. If one ear is higher than the other, it shows your head is shifted. And research has shown, again, you're going to decrease your longevity. So if your shoulders are off, decrease 1, your head is off, decrease another year. Or for level. If their shoulders are level and your head is level, you get to decrease another year. So do the quick math, do all these tests to see if you can do it, keep subtracting. If you can't do it, you got to add, come up with an age. So if you start at 70, are you less than 70 now? Or are you more than 70? I want to hear what your age is. So stop this and do this. All right, so welcome back. So hopefully you got a chance to get that. And I want to know how many of you are older than what you are. Not good. How many of you are younger, right? Sometimes even 5, 10 years younger than what you are. Then those are the people we were going to kind of work on and help to teach the people that are on the other end of it. So time is of the essence, but any time is available so you can take action, and we want you to help take action today. So here's a research study that showed the participants over a course of 4 years that found that people that are more sedentary had a 44% increase in strokes. We also know people that, again, did the 10-second one-legged stance showed middle-aged survival rates was much higher. So if you can do this, your chances of dying in the next couple of years dramatically decreases if you can do a simple thing of standing on the leg with one foot. Isn't that awesome? One of the issues that people can't stand is sometimes balance and vertigo issues. For some reason in my office, I'm seeing more and more vertigo issues. And a lot of it has to do with multiple factors. First of all, inside your inner ear, those are the areas that balance your, that give you balance. There's little crystals that kind of, again, as the ear moves, it kind of stimulates the body to reorient to gravity. So sometimes there's things that can disrupt those crystals that kind of get problems in that. So there's 2 procedures, and you can do this at home if you do get vertigo. Keep this as a resource. It's called Epley and Foster's maneuver. I love Foster's just a little bit better than Epley, but just Google them. It's just basically positioning your head and doing some different things that reset the crystals in your ears. And that can just, in on of your own, just do that can actually be a very big benefit for vertigo. Do it if it works. You sometimes have to do it a couple times to get it to completely reset those crystals in your ear. We also know sometimes sinuses, if you get a lot of sinus congestion, can also affect the ear, especially one versus another. That's why sometimes you blow your nose, you hear your ears pop. There's a connection. So we see a lot of times if you just get sinus issues corrected, your vertigo and balance goes away. We also know subluxations in the atlas. That's where your nervous system and the vertebrae in your neck and stuff are off balance. And what it does, it causes overstimulation to one ear and understimulation into another ear, and your brain's confused, which ear is telling me the truth, and it causes the vertigo issues. And then we see a lot of people with high or low blood pressure. Those are the people when they stand up, if they get a little woozy and off balance, then basically we know that they have too low blood pressure, so something we need to correct. So those are things for blood pressure. So let's talk about what blood pressure is. So a lot of people that are being mistreated for blood pressure issues, those are the people that come and go to a doctor's office. They have normal blood pressure readings, and then all of a sudden they walk into a stressful situation, and all of a sudden now they see that they have, in a stressful situation, the blood pressure goes up a little bit. So now the doctors, even though your normal blood pressure, now putting you on medications, and those are people that are walking out, all of a sudden now blood pressure too low. Just had a gentleman the other day. It's like, every time I stand up, I get lightheaded. Yeah, because you just had a blood pressure med given to you a month ago that you did not need. So what we have to understand about blood pressure, there's tons of things that cause your blood pressure to go up and down. Stress, even exercise can cause blood pressure to go up. That it's not all bad when your blood pressure elevates, especially for short periods of time. So I always tell people and stuff, as long as it's not been over 3 months, don't get really too concerned about one high blood pressure reading. And also, too, why I have this slide up is about 10 years ago, they redefined what high blood pressure. It's now 140/90. As long as your blood pressure is in the 130s, as long as it's in the upper 80s, it's totally fine. You shouldn't be on medication. It's not told you should get to the 140/90 consistently. For multiple readings is when you need to be blood pressure actually regulated. So if you have high blood pressure, are there other things other than blood pressure meds that you can do? Yes, there are certain B vitamins. Your fat soluble B vitamins help decrease blood pressure by making your blood vessels relax. Same thing with magnesium. A lot of people are deficient in magnesium, so by taking magnesium, relaxes blood pressure on the vessels so things flow better. We also have stress, right? Am I the only one that has stress? But stress, Drenamine, mid-checks and stuff can also cause, or stress can cause increased blood pressure. By taking Drenamine and mid-checks helps mitigate stress, so it'll actually help regulate blood pressure. And Renofood. Renofood is for high diastolic. So systolic is the top number, diastolic is the bottom number. So when you have the high diastolic without the subsequent increase in systolic pressure, it means your body's retaining too much fluid, which is the damaging part about the blood pressure. So it shows your kidneys aren't working well. So taking something for your kidneys can make a big difference in that bottom number. So, but I want to bring out to the point and stuff is most people in the medical community, high blood pressure, just put you on this medicine to lower it, but they don't ever figure out why. And I just laid out here different reasons why. There could be deficiencies, there could be stress related, it could be kidney issues. Most doctors don't talk about that or don't go into that category, and they're really missing the underlying issue. And that's why you take blood pressure medicine for the rest of your life and never get off of it. And I would be remiss, being a chiropractor, if I wouldn't mention the chiropractic portion of adjustments. I can't tell you people's high blood pressure, they get adjusted and boom, all of a sudden their blood pressure goes down. We hear that on a regular, consistent basis. Energy. How many people, as they get into the 60s, 70s and stuff, say that they have less energy than what they should? It's very common, and there's a lot of subsequent factors that cause that. So what causes low energy? Could be metabolic, neurological, and structural. Those are the three issues. So the first thing that causes it is actually not moving enough. So as we get older, we have issues, we don't get as active, and all of a sudden, the less you use it, the quicker it goes away. So we always want to be encouraging you to move, 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 move. I can't tell you how much power a movement does to your body. It's probably the most powerful drug on this planet is exercise. The more you move, it solves so many health issues, energy being one of them, and also joint issues, which we'll talk about later. As I tell people, you don't have to exercise all the time, just the days you eat, right? How many of you skip eating, right? Not very many, but how many skip exercise on a regular basis? So food in, calorie in, you should be exercising, exercise that food off. There could be other metabolic causes. People don't understand that most medication side effects comes from the deficiency of the vitamins that medication is causing. So chemically, they put a chemical in your body, and it's going to push out certain vitamins and minerals out of your body that's going to cause a physiological effect that the medication is designed to create. But because that vitamin was also used in other metabolic processes in your body, it causes a deficiency, and those processes can't happen, and that's where the side effects comes from. So guaranteed, if you're taking medication, you have some type of vitamin mineral deficiency, and you need to be making up for that. Some of the biggest ones we see that makes the biggest difference is vitamin D. That's your sunshine vitamin. So it helps you sleep, has energy, bone growth, blood pressure, and even brain is all affected by vitamin D. The next one is B12. B12 is the energy vitamin. It is the vitamin inside each individual cell that helps cells produce energy. So it's really important to get your B12. Omega-3s is really good for your overall. Every single cell of your body needs omega-3s. That makes the outside wall and lining of your cells, which is important. And magnesium. We're going to touch on this again. We use it for blood pressure, but magnesium also is relaxing, but it also is energizing. Magnesium is a limiting factor inside each cell to make energy. Your body needs to transform oxygen into energy, and it needs magnesium to do that. And if you don't have enough magnesium, each cell kind of starves for energy from the inside out. So by replacing magnesium, energizes your body, but also calms at the same time, which is super cool. So exercise. So here's to get you through the exercises. Do what moves you and stuff. Find something that motivates you. I know the big thing now is pickleball. Everyone's playing pickleball. If you haven't tried it, I love it myself. My son got me playing, and I'm actually addicted to it. So people at any age can play pickleball, but just do something that excites you and you love to do. Also pick variety. Don't do the same thing. Please just don't walk, even though I love walking and I'm saying to walk. Change it up. Change up this pace. Go up a hill, go down a hill, carry weights when you're doing it. So just add variety to what you're doing. Get a community involved in it. So the more that you get people involved, you can easily talk yourself out of it, but you have 4 or 5 people you meet to exercise. It's harder to kind of have the peer pressure and say, hey, I'm too lazy today to show up to your friends. That's not going to happen. And next thing is just schedule it in. We schedule all the other important things in our life. Exercise should be at the top of that list. So just know these are the 3-4 days of my week. I'm not going to put anything else in that time slot. And so you can actually get that exercise that you deserve. So we're going to talk a little bit about some testimonials. There's Stephanie. She said, after starting care at Live Well, I have so much more strength and energy now. Because Live Well, I now have experienced more mobility and energy in my life, was her husband. So these are great individuals come to our office, and both of them said one of the primary reasons coming is they did not feel like they were energized. So through the adjustments and other means that we're going to show you here in just a minute, they now have their life back. They feel energetic. And I know before that they were struggling about even traveling. And about a year or so ago, they actually went out west for a couple weeks and was able to enjoy it, hike, and do all those things. That was like one of their big rocks they wanted to do and felt like they couldn't do it, and now was able to do it. That's kind of fun and exciting. So how does that happen? What does chiropractic do? Obviously, chiropractic is the experts on your healthcare team that look and analyze your nervous system. No one else is looking at your nervous system. They just want to give you drugs and medications, but we know the nervous system is what controls and coordinates all organs and structures of your body. We talk about the nervous system like wiring in your body. How does a light bulb get energy to turn on? It comes from the wiring. Where does your body get energy to function and work and digest food and think and to make your immune system work? It has to do with the energy that comes from the nervous system, right? So energy flows from the inside out. So we make sure that nervous system is flowing unimpeded, switches are turned on, and your body gets to be healthy and experience abundant energy. But we know issues and pain and health issues can deplete the energy. Here's a testimonial from Maddie Hampson. It says, before S-wave, I was limping on my right foot. I had plantar fasciitis. S-wave, I walk without limping and I have more energy, right? She was inefficiently moving. It was taking more energy every day just to make it through each day because she was limping. So how many people do you know have plantar fasciitis, right? And struggle with it and struggle with it and struggle with it. You know, here within 3 weeks, and we're going to talk to you a little bit more about S-wave and what it does. She was actually able to have regular work. She stands on concrete all day and it didn't bother her, which is what was supposed to be. So we talked about energy. Energy comes from the nervous system, but the nervous system source and power plant of that energy all comes and starts from the brain. So let's look at brain and memory health, because we know that can be an issue as we age, because if we do live a long time and we're able to do things, we want to be able to remember them, right? So let's kind of talk about memory and how we can improve that. So back to movement, right? We keep beating this horse, and hopefully you guys are going to take this lesson is for people who do not move. This was a study that showed if you're sedentary for 4 weeks, that your brain shrinks by 20%, right? So if you want to improve your brain function by 20%, you only have to do one thing. It's called movement, right? So if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So if you're moving, the parts of your brain that control the movement decrease and shrink, so you need to get moving. We know the adjustments and how that affects brain function is optimize efficiency. We'll talk about that here in a second. It also balances blood flow, reduces stress, oxygenates tissues, better vision, improves brain function. And this is what I was describing. So this is actually a very cool test that look at the efficiency of how your brain works. Efficiency brings in energy, right? Just like your fuel efficiency of your car. If you can go more miles per gallon, you don't need as many gallons. That's what it's all about. So on the left-hand side, these two pictures are people, they're doing brain scans. White areas are active areas of your brain. So they would give this person a task saying, you know, wiggle your toe, count to 10, and they showed the areas of your brain that it took to accomplish that task. We then gave them an adjustment, and then we rescanned the brain, and you saw what happened. Almost all of the activity decreased except for a few precise areas. What this shows you is how much more efficient your brain only needed a couple neurons to work versus thousands on the left-hand side. So those are how people can say they have more clarity of thought. A good example of that is I have a gentleman, he was an accountant, and he said, I knew when it's time for my appointment. He said, I didn't even have to look at the calendar. He said, because my numbers started to get fuzzy. I had to think about how to do math. And he's like, when I knew that was happening, I knew my appointment was coming up. So just in that example and stuff shows you how much more efficient your brain works when you get adjusted. Also, we know nutrients makes a big difference with your brain. EFAs are essential fatty acids. We talk about fish oil. Fish oil. This is the second time we're mentioning that. We're going to mention it a couple more times. Is essential for your brain. Good, healthy fats. Proteins, please make sure you're getting good animal proteins, and that's not chicken. That's good animal sources of beef and pork and venison and buffalo. Whatever you need to eat to get those red meats and stuff are hugely important. Your fish is also really good, and you can throw some chicken in there, but you need a wide variety. Most people are protein deficient, and that's what causes a lot of health issues. We need to get a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, especially lots of colors. It was really good. Low glycemic stuff. So just don't only get the fruit because the fruit tastes good and it's sweet. Let's kind of try to get fruits that are foods that aren't as high in sugars. Fruit is good, but not all the time. And again, we know nutrition, we talked about magnesium and B12 are also really good for brain health, and that also helps out with energy. So other things is to stimulate your brain. So if you want to have brain function and a high acuity for brain really long term, is keep challenging your brain. Keep really looking and challenging your brain. Learn new lessons. Do a puzzle book. Just don't watch TV in the evening or watch YouTube. But let's kind of do something that's going to really stimulate and challenge your brain. Use your non-dominant hand to brush your teeth or to write and stuff. Will also stimulate it. And just change up routine. Don't always do the same thing every day. And then we're going to jump into what's called biohacking or regenerative therapies in our office. So we've also seen dramatic improvements. So the one that I have been using the longest here is actually time restricted eating. So the concept of that is where you're actually taking your window of eating. You're not eating when you first get up, or you're not grazing all day and then eating right before you go to bed. It's kind of closing that window. They have found out so many benefits of hormones in your body. Your body actually stimulates growth hormone, which keeps you young and vibrant. If you're giving your body a break of eating, so you're eating in a 6 to 8 hour window and the rest of the time you're not eating. I've been doing that for 7 to 8 years now, and I can't tell you how much more energy I have. I experience, no hunger in the mornings because, first of all, what I do is I skip breakfast because breakfast is probably the worst and most damaging meal you can eat because 99% of all breakfast food are bad. The only breakfast food that I think is still really good is eggs, but all your cereals, all of your pancakes, your waffles, all that kind of stuff is all bad stuff. Oatmeal, please. Oatmeal is not a health food. So get rid of all that stuff. Just get rid of breakfast, and you're going to find your way to time restricted eating. You're going to find out way more energy. It's going to help balance your blood sugar. For me, it gives me energy, so I'm not up and down with that energy cycles when I'm eating. So I feel much better when I do that. And also, too, is it's helped me. Again, I eat the same amount of food from beginning to end of the day. It's just a shorter amount of time. So I eat a very big lunch and a very big dinner. But it's helped me lose weight because I'm just eating a shorter period of time. Herbal support, really ginseng, ginkgo biloba are all really, really good ones. Bacopa is another really good one for brain function. Those are herbs and stuff I take on a regular basis. I get up in my morning. That is my cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I take those herbs and stuff, and it just stimulates my brain. And I'm very focused, very energetic, and I get a lot done in the mornings. Detoxing, if you pull toxins out of your body, it's not that weight and drag and anchor holding your body and brain back. So you're going to have way more clarity of thought. I know when I do my detoxing, my thought process has changed dramatically, which is great. PEMF is pulsed electromagnetic fields that also help your body detoxing. I'll describe that technology a little bit later, but it's a biohacking thing. We use magnetic fields to stimulate energy production in your body, but also get rid of waste. Which is really phenomenal, the healing that it can do. And S-wave is using sound waves that actually stimulate the healing process and regenerative process of your body. So by doing that, you can make major changes. We already heard Maddie's testimony by using S-wave, able to give her energy back and do things that she needed to get done. Another major health issue that we see a lot of people run into as they age is osteoporosis. So that's the weakening of the bones. So first of all, is I got to talk to you a little bit about some truth that's involved in this. Most standardized tests, the DEXA scan that people have done on a regular basis, is kind of flawed technology. I just learned this recently and stuff. Is where the numbers of a DEXA scan comes from. Does anyone know where they set the parameters of what's normal? Comes from a study they did probably 2 or 3 decades ago from 20-year-old females. I think there was 4 or 5 of them that they tested, and from there they put this average of what most bone density should be. So first of all, it's a flawed kind of litmus test that you're actually being measured against. And number 2, they know the technology, even the DEXA scan itself, has high irregularity as far as there's a lot of false readings that it can give. So it's not a very accurate reading. So a lot of people probably are being measured against something they should probably never be measured against, with readings that are probably false, and taking tons of medications that are not good. So let's talk about really some solutions to that and some natural things. So you have to understand is there are 2 how your bone is remodeled. They kind of call it the living matrix. So there's always what they kind of call remodeling when it happens to bone. So just like your house, especially if you live in a house for a long period of time, you're always constantly remodeling. Things wear out, flooring, carpeting, furniture and stuff, and then you actually get rid of the old and you bring in the new, and it helps refresh your home. Same thing happens with bones. Your bones are always constantly being torn down. There's certain cells that tear down bone, and then there's certain cells that come right behind it and build back up. So it's always remodeling. So I think the science has said anywhere from about 8 to 10 months, you get a whole new skeletal system in your body. It's basically all redone in 8 to 10 months, which is pretty amazing. So that being understood and stuff is you want to be able to feed these cells and actually help these cells work in conjunction so your body can continually to stay healthy. The problem is when we come with medications, what they have found out, there's a certain medication that will kill off the cells that break down bone. So if you're getting rid of less bone and you just keep building it up, then you can build up bone density. The problem with that is you're putting healthy bone on top of old bone and things start to collapse. So that's why if you see most of the osteoporotic medications come with a warning that says is if you take this medication, you have an increased risk of hip fracture and jaw fracture. So crazy is these are people taking this to prevent fractures because they think they're building healthier bone, and they're actually causing more fractures with it because of this system that they're basically people are not understanding. And it just looks good on a DEXA scan. Hey, I'm increasing my bone density, but it's just bone on top of bad bone, and you're not really making it work the right way. So what can we do that actually can make it work the right way? First of all, is most bone density issues come back to a matter of what? Deficiencies. First of all, it's not a deficiency of calcium, magnesium. Yes, you need those. Most people get way more calcium than what they need. It's just where that calcium is positioned. How your body positions calcium is by two special nutrients. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is essential to move calcium in your body. And that comes from sunshine or supplementation. We already talked about the benefits of energy with that. Or K2. K2 comes from specifically fermented products. We don't do a lot of fermented products other than a little bit of yogurt. But before refrigeration, people ate a lot of fermented foods, fermented vegetables. That's how they preserve food. We don't get that anymore. So K2 is really the lock and key that takes calcium from your tissues that we are eating tons of calcium through, and it builds up in the tissues. As soon as you put K2 in the body, it takes that calcium, pushes it into the bones, and reabsorbs it into the deposit, the bank deposit where it should be. Without K2, it's kind of like just having money laying all around your house because you don't really have a way or vehicle to get it to the bank. K2 gets it to the bank and puts it in the bones where it needs to be, so it is important. Quick story about that is I had a gentleman a couple years ago, young gentleman in his 30s, something fell on his foot, broke his foot, came in and stuff, had this fracture. We gave him an extra big dose of K2. In 3 weeks, he went back just to kind of see if it was healing and stuff. And when the doctor took the x-ray, he came out and was flabbergasted. He was like, I'd never seen this before. He was like, the fracture is completely healed. It's completely gone. And he was like, I've never seen it heal up anything that fast. So again, I know K2 works and can be a big difference in how your density of your bones is. Probably one of the biggest factors. Then we also know is making sure you get good plant source of calcium. A lot of people get it from other sources. It should come from a plant. That's how our body is supposed to absorb it, is from plants. Or bone broth from an animal, from another piece of bone and stuff, comes from a good thing. And then also magnesium. Magnesium, calcium needs to be in the right ratio, so it's important we do that. Exercise is also an important key. Is remember, anytime you stress out a muscle, the muscle is going to get stronger. Anytime you stress out a bone gets stronger. So we want to be exercising the bones. So that's another key, another factor. Exercise. Have I said that already? Exercise. I'm going to say it again before we get off this presentation. Exercise again is also best to kind of increase bone density. But we have a little hack that can work around that. It's called PEMF. PEMF is that magnetic field, as I already talked to you about already. And what that does is stimulates the body to think like it's exercises. So each individual cell kind of calls it a cellular exercise. Each cell is kind of given exercise, which causes it to, again, stimulate growth. It also decreases swelling and inflammation in the body. It also decreases toxicity in the body. It also increases energy production in the body. So what's really neat is PEMF is actually FDA approved for bone density. So you can use it for treatment. Doctors don't know about that and should recommend it more, but they want to give drugs. That's what they'd get paid for. And a lot of people don't know and stuff is in the space shuttles, and especially the space station now up in space, there's PMF units up there to help with bone density. So when astronauts come back to Earth, their skeletal system isn't completely wiped out. And they found PMF is what keeps the bone density high, even in space, even away from gravity. But here I want to show you when stuff is this was a pre and post X-ray. It wasn't the same gentleman I was talking about. This is another one, actually a fracture in the arm. You can see that right there on the left-hand side. 10 days later, with PEMF, you can see it was completely gone. The fracture was completely resolved and stuff, which is actually pretty cool. This was another lady, Shirley Myers, who comes to my office, was getting regular, consistent DEXA scans that kept showing her bone density was decreasing. Again, don't believe the scans, but again, it was heading in the wrong direction. Her doctor kept forcing her, wanting to, or pressuring her to do the osteoporotic drugs. She did not want to do it. So basically, she came to me and we did PMF on her. She did PMF for multiple months and stuff, and then she actually had her DEXA scan, and it came back here. You'll see increase, increase, increase. So basically, it actually improved, and the doctor even wrote on here, basically scans have improved with chiropractic care. So I had to make sure I underlined the chiropractic care that a doctor actually was saying chiropractic care actually was working. Great thing about it is she did this again without medication, and guess what? The doctor is not harassing her all the time now about more medications. Here's another great testimony about working with bones and also how the bones heal is our good friend here and patient Patty Douglas. So Patty Douglas started PMF, for a couple months and was doing really well. Noticed some significant improvements in her joint pain, overall energy level, even clarity of thought. But unfortunately, she had a fall, fell down a couple flight of stairs that really boogered her up. And I remember she came in the office and stuff. She came in a wheelchair. Her foot was up. It was all bandaged. She couldn't put any pressure on her foot. Her shoulder was all wrapped up and stuff. She was in a sling. I mean, this lady looked rough. So we started her back on PMF, and we did basically PMF for 8 sessions. And during that 8 sessions, she started to walk again. She put pressure on her foot. Within pretty much in a couple weeks, she was back to being normal, all except her shoulder. Shoulder took so much extra time. We put some focused energy into it. And the doctors was recommending surgery when she first had the fall. Doctors went back and did a pre-op. They wanted to look at actually how things was before she was scheduled back in and have surgery. And the doctor says, Eureka, guess what? We can't find any problems with your shoulder. Your shoulder's perfectly fine. So PMF saved Patty Douglas from actually having surgery, and she has full range of motion of everything. And again, she knows that it was PMF that made the difference for her. I would be remiss if I didn't say something about chiropractic and bone density. We know chiropractic and nervous system controls everything with your bones. So having your adjustments is also a big portion of osteoporosis. So the next thing we're moving on to is the flu, pneumonia, and shots. So this is something, again, especially your older people, they kind of claim, oh yeah, your immune system is weaker. You need all these vaccines now. Used to be kids were the only person that got vaccines. Now they rolled into adults, and now seniors for sure need way more shots because all of a sudden now they become vaccine deficient. So let's kind of look at what the science says about your flu shots. Number one is, do you know most people over the age 65, flu shots are only 9% effective. That means 91% of the time you're going to be a failure rate. This flu shot is going to do nothing for your health. Even though according to the CDC, they said it's the best protection we have. Anybody else that has a 90% failure rate would be out of business, except if you have the government pushing your information. The next is about pneumonia. So it talks about pneumonia shots. It was given worldwide, but now the United States is the only one that gives pneumonia shots because all the other companies dropped them because they found out even though they were giving populations pneumonia shots, it wasn't changing pneumonia rates. It was actually increasing people that was getting pneumonia, not actually saving people. We also know another big one is chickenpox. We know chickenpox is kind of that weird one where we know that it's a virus from the chickenpox that stays in your body dormantly that then leads to shingles. So what they have done is they came out with a chickenpox shot for kids, and now they found out if they rebrand it and just give it to older adults, they can give it to you as a shingle shot. So if you look at how the chickenpox vaccine works, you'll find out, again, there's no really research that shows it actually is effective. I know we kind of say, well, there's not as many chickenpox going around. That's probably true. But if you look at other cultures and societies that does not have chickenpox vaccine, they're also seeing a dramatic decreased risk in episodes of chickenpox. So I can't say it's the vaccine that's causing the problem. But what we have to know is every time you inject yourself with a shingle shot, there's all kinds of toxins and poisons that go into it. And also, last but not least, is that also shows that, again, I can't tell you people's got that and then ended up getting shingles right afterwards. So I can't tell you people's come in, oh yeah, I just got this, and did you get the vaccine recently? Oh yeah, I just got a couple months ago, but they said it was supposed to protect me. So that's not really the case. There's really very limited resources that show there's any type of protection, even protection against the chickenpox at the very beginning. So please, 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 please don't fall for the marketing and stuff and do not get that shot. Definitely cause a lot of health issues. So let's talk about arthritis. So that can be affecting a lot of people's longevity. And we know people who get arthritis, it's an autoimmune issue. So let's understand your immune system attacking and destroying and breaking down your own joints. That's what causes the arthritis. And a lot of it has to do with toxins that are in your body. Your body's trying to destroy and get rid of those and viruses. And it causes a lot of swelling, a lot of joint pain, kind of like Amelia was having. So we have different ways to treat arthritis so you can become more functional. One is PEMF, as we kind of talked about. That was Amelia's biggest thing that made so much difference for her because she had arthritis all throughout her entire body. That we gave her PEMF and stuff, and it helped pull the toxins out of her body, and our immune system was attacking it. S-wave is what you use for just a specific joint region, which we'll talk about in a second. It uses sound waves. We also know there's the supplements. There's turmeric and ligaplex that makes a big difference. If you're not taking turmeric and have arthritis, you're missing the boat. The only problem is make sure you're getting a good source of turmeric, because a lot of turmeric is that's actually farmed the wrong way, actually has high lead contents in it. So you got to be very careful of that. And also too, is you have to pair it with a carrier molecule. Turmeric in itself does not get into the cells and make a big difference unless it has piperine or fenugreek seed mixed in with it. So make sure when you're looking at your labels, it does have one of those two. And if it doesn't, make sure you pick it up our office. The one we have is very effective, increases turmeric levels by over 400% in your blood and in your body than if you're just taking pure turmeric. Detoxing is really good for arthritis, helps get rid of toxins in your body. Can't tell me people's had joint pain, got detox and has eliminated joint pain. And then obviously movement. We got to get moving, because even with arthritis, I know it hurts to move, but if you don't move, it's going to cause the joints to become more stiff. So here's a quick thing that was actually a testimonial stuff that was from Stephanie Eckenrode. We talked a little bit about her earlier and stuff, but actually having x-rays done on her wrist. She was found to have arthritis, and she's an accountant, does a lot of work on her computer. We used those sound waves on her wrist that actually got rid of all the arthritis in that, and basically now she was actually able to complete her daily tasks, even enjoy hobbies like riding her bike and walking her dog without any pain. This is the instrument. This is what it does. Again, it uses high-frequency ultrasound waves to stimulate the healing process and to get rid of a lot of arthritic conditions. Here's Cindy McAlone. She was having problems walking upstairs with her knee pain. She said, I can go up and down steps normally and be feeling like myself again, which is pretty incredible to have knee issues but be able to do stairs. Here's a lady and stuff that had severe issues with her shoulder. As you can see here on the left-hand side, could barely get her shoulder over 90 degrees. You can see how she's leaning actually to the left, actually, or to her right, just to get it up a little bit. We did 15-minute session of PEMF, and look how much different it is. Look how dramatically she can actually get it over her head without any pain, which is kind of actually pretty phenomenal. And then we also have this one. This one actually was Troy Doherty. This was his knee flexion. This is as far as he can pull back his knee on 9:15. Look on 9:22. Do you see the difference? He can almost touch his butt, and he actually can now with just actually 2 treatments. So that was actually pretty phenomenal to see that kind of changes in just, and he can put weight on his legs without any pain. There's another one of our medalist. This was a lady that Casey O'Neill that actually got selected to run the London Marathon. She was in England. but was having problems with her leg. She wasn't able to train. She wasn't even able to run more than 10 minutes without severe pain in her leg. We worked with her S-wave. She was actually able to complete her training, get up to speed, and yes, she did get her medal from the London Marathon, which actually is very cool. So how good can this be? So here is one of my buddies, Sherm Pencil, that had some issues from an injury, shoulder or an elbow injury from his weightlifting, but weightlifting was his thing. He loved lifting weights. So he did some S-wave on that elbow. And here's this dude actually bench pressing 375 pounds on a elbow that literally 6 months ago, he couldn't even lift 5 pounds. It was causing him pain. And now he can do it pain-free without any issues. And he's been doing that for the last 3 or 4 months. So that's pretty impressive. So just to kind of circle back, we kind of have a lot of things going on at this presentation. I want to kind of just put them into perspective that the adjustments are the core of what it is that we do. You got to get nerve supply flowing so your body can actually begin to heal. But then if you add specific nutrients to your body, B vitamins, vitamin D, magnesium, all kinds of herbs and stuff makes a big difference. We then kind of look at whole body detox. If you detox your body, get rid of toxins, that also is going to stimulate the healing process, help the adjustment. PEMF and S-wave is our regenerative technology that we also utilize to help polish things off some specific chronic health issues that really are holding your body back from being healthy. We can work on those and make those well. And then the last thing is, oh shoot, is regenerative therapy. So just kind of let you know, this is our PEMF unit. This is where you lay down and you actually get to experience the magnetic fields that pulse through your body. We do have specials in our office. If you call our office, we can actually give you for 3 trial sessions for $99. Just understand 3 sessions is not going to solve all of your issues, but it's going to help get your body at least started. You can see what the technology is, right? This is S-wave being done on the knees, so you can kind of see my buddy Ken here made some dramatic improvements with his knee and helped out his knee really well. So that's going to, if you sign up, can't give you a free treatment, but we can do a free consultation to see if S-wave is actually really well for you or really work for your body. Again, PEMF can do all kinds of things, increase energy, joint mobility, circulation, digestive problems. You can say the same thing with chiropractic care. And just to review a lot of the nutrients we talked about, you need to get vitamin D. Make sure you're taking B12 as you age, something I take on a regular basis. Omega-3s, magnesium, and turmeric are all super important when the aging process to reverse that. So what do you do now? Gave you lots of information, and again, there's not a one size that fits all. Each individual person that comes to my office needs individual treatments to help your body out. So the best thing is to kind of get into our office, get under care, so we can kind of start to investigate and see what the underlying issues is. That's what we've kind of really have honed in and refined, where we actually help patients and find out the underlying cause of the problem. I want you to call the office, or you can make an appointment on our website. Remember that we do have those 3 sessions for $99. If you call the office, you can request that, or just say, you know what, I want to have a consultation. I want to see if S-wave is maybe right for my plantar fasciitis, my elbow issue, my shoulder issue, my hip issue. We can help you out for sure with that. So again, just circling back and stuff is, you know, again, I wish I would have probably saw Amelia, you know, when she was 7, not 9. I'd have saved 10 years of her headache and hassle, lots of grief and stress by her mother. So I always tell people and stuff is the best time to start working on longevity is even when you're out of the womb, right? It's day 1. You need to start doing the most you can to maximize your health so we can stay healthy as long as possible. And we want to make dramatic changes so that you can get to do the things you want to do. Amelia's was being gymnastics. I'm sure you have things that you want to do in your life. How do we get you to accomplish those? We can find you the solutions to really help you out. So thank you so much for attending to this. Like I said, it's all about taking action. Please take action. Let's do something to really stimulate your health, get you back on the right track so you can live the best life possible. Thank you.